Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. In the last video I talked about an update to the trade unit pathing, which is kind of a big deal. In Definitive Edition, trade units no longer go for the closest market like they did in HD. A few people pointed out this might actually be a problem because it means your units could choose a more dangerous route than the one you want them to. I looked into it a bit more and there's actually more going on than I first thought, and it's not quite as simple as just picking the longest route. For example, you can see here I have markets in all four corners, and I'll send some trade carts up the length of the map. If all it did was switch to the longest trade route possible, then the return trips should crisscross through the center, but they don't. They go back to their starting market, and it's not that they both prefer their home market all the time, because if I send them both to the same ally market, they both return to the closer one. There's something about the configuration of the map that makes them only want to pick that one route. I can even throw a distractor market nearby, and you can see they ignore it. They just want the one in the corner. Weird. To get to the bottom of this, I set up a new test where I have markets a variety of distances away. Each of them is going to create one trade cart to send to the ally market, and we'll see where they all end up. Will they go back to their original market, the closest one, the furthest one? It turns out none of the above. They pick this one. It's a trip worth 43 gold and is around 100 tiles from the ally market, though it kind of depends where on the market you measure from. From this though, it looks like they don't necessarily want the longest route, which I got wrong in the last video, but instead have a favorite route length. So what if I delete their favorite market? Where are they going to choose to go? Well, naturally the next closest one. By deleting markets on the end of each line, I can make them go back and forth as they chase whichever one is closest to that ideal length. I then did the test again, but this time I'll give my ally a second market and delete his first. Of course, initially this leads to mass confusion as all the trade carts stop working, but after sending them to the new market, you can see they've switched their favorite. Now it's this one in the corner that gives 37 gold, meaning it's slightly less than 100 tiles away. Had there been a market a bit further away, around 100 tiles, they probably would have preferred that one. Of course, there's this one in the bottom of the map, but it's at 120 tiles, so it's too far away for them to want to use. If I go back and delete all of the closer markets though, they will begrudgingly use it. Now unfortunately, that magic number of 100 tiles doesn't seem to depend on map size. On a giant map, for example, it's the same distance, but only gives 29 gold per trip. Also, as a side note, I'm talking about trade carts here, but everything I'm saying applies to trade cogs as well. So what's the takeaway? Well, it's not that trade units always prefer the longest route, though you can see why I thought that on a small scale test. Instead, it's that they prefer the route that's closest to 100 tiles. Now, all of the map sizes are larger than 100 tiles along the edge, meaning if you're going with a nice long trade route, you could be undercutting it with extra markets around the map, just like what was possible in HD. The difference is in HD, the unit's ideal trade length was 0 tiles, so they always went for the closest one. To be safe, it's still a good idea to delete old markets in your town and eventually just go with markets in the corners. That brings up the question of why the 100 tile preference exists at all. My thought is it's probably for the reasons that people pointed out. You're always losing a bit of safety in longer routes, and even if a shorter route is giving up some potential gold, maybe the devs felt 100 tiles was a good compromise between those two factors. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.